How you doing, Spartans? I'm excited for the class of 2021 and all the hard work you have put in during the first 3 years of high school. And as we begin a little bit untraditional beginning of your 2021 senior year, it still doesn't change the things that we're working toward, the goals that you have for yourself, and the efforts that both you and our school need to make sure we are putting in reference to making you Spartan strong and making sure as you complete your 4th year of high school and the building of your brand, we're doing lots of things to make sure that you're ready. Want to remind everybody through your first couple years of school, there's probably been some tours that you've taken. Some of that might have been virtual this past spring, but there's lots of options out there as far as 2 year schools, 4 year schools, finding out that fit for you. We will be working in the coming weeks on your senior profiles, your senior resume, if you will. You're going to be zeroing in on who your recommendations are, essay writing, scholarship and financial aid, and a lot that ties together your senior year and the beginning of your senior year and all of these details. I am excited about what's ahead, but I want to make sure that our senior class, the Mount Tabor High School class of 2021, is very grounded in its efforts to work in the coming weeks to stay focused and stay on top of the details that are ahead. Easier to do all these things face to face, but we're going to have to rise up, Spartan strong, and get the job done in various ways. There'll be Zoom meetings that will be taking place between you and your counselors and your parents and families. And we want to just make sure that we're getting the information out there to you guys. So please make sure you ask questions, that you take all things about your senior year very serious at this point, a layer more intentional, and I think we will be just fine. You guys have been outstanding students the first 3 years of high school, and we want to finish Spartan strong in your senior year. It's going to be the best year yet. Stay a little bit patient with the beginning of this year, and we will get things to a safe place for us to all be able to be back at school together in some capacity as soon as possible. Go Spartans.
Hi, Mount Tabor class of 21. I'm Miss Daniel, and before we go further, we wanted to make sure to give you some tips to get the most out of this presentation we've put together. For starters, go ahead and turn your sound on. If you're just now doing that, go back to the first slide so that you can hear and see Mr. Weiss's introduction to this presentation. Now, as we go forward, you will see occasionally our videos on here where we're talking. Now, if that's going on and you want to replay that video, you can simply click on it and it should replay that video on that slide. Most slides are actually audio recordings we've done to talk about what's going on in that slide. If you would like to replay that audio, simply go and click the icon that we've listed here, and it should be in the bottom right-hand corner of any slide where there is audio provided. If you re-click that, it will replay the audio on that slide so that you can listen again to the information we've provided. And last but not least, most of the icons and logos that you'll see on slides are actually links directly to the site we're talking about. Sometimes that could be a college's website, scholarship information, or a link directly to Mount Tabor's counseling website where we have a wealth of information for you. Well, we hope that you enjoy this presentation and you get a lot of information out of it, and know that we missed you and we look forward to having your senior meetings, which you'll learn more about here in the next couple slides.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to the Mount Tabor High School class of 2021. Parents, families, anybody who has chosen to watch our program. As we begin our program, Mr. Weiss has given you a welcome, and Ms. Daniel has given an overview of how this program will work. I would like to just welcome you as your Director of School Counseling to this program and welcome you to a year that's certainly going to be different, but a year like any other where you as high school seniors are going to make decisions about the next step in your life. So really think deeply about what you want to do and how you want to follow through this year to make those goals happen. This is a journey. You have ideas right now, and you have ideas that are going to evolve over the course of your senior year that will lead to where you want to go. So on this slide, we decided to have a little bit of fun. You see us in our masks. So we want to make sure that you know who your high school counselor is this year and who's going to serve you. We have had some changes. We are now a counseling staff of 4, along with a counseling intern. So that has led to some changes. Ms. Brittany Smith, who has been a counselor for some of you, and Mrs. Santos Roberts, who's been a counselor for some of you, those 2 counselors are no longer with us. They are now working in other jobs, working with young people. And that means that you may have a different counselor this year. We did rearrange the alphabet also to make sure that those of you who were served by one of us during your freshman, sophomore, and junior years, that you are still served by Ms. Daniel, Mr. McBride, or by me. And those of you who are in the other parts of the alphabet are served by one of us, or you are now served by Mr. Jerry Boswell, who is our new counselor. Mr. Boswell comes to us having completed his counselor education program at UNC Chapel Hill. So we take our job as your high school counselors very seriously. We want to help you make the best decisions that you can make for your future, and we want you to engage in all of the processes that are important to applying to college, applying for scholarships, financial aid, and making your next set of steps, your goals happen as you make your way to graduation in June of 2021 and build that plan for what you're going to do after high school. We want to also welcome with us Mr. L.B. Snipes, who is working on his school counseling program at Wake Forest University, and will work with many of you this year as our counseling intern. So with that, on with our program. Class of 2021, you're going to graduate and you're going to make big plans.
So hopefully at this point, by your senior year, you guys have some idea of what you want to do after you complete your education at Mount Tabor. If you look on this screen, these are some of the options that students most normally choose after they complete their years at Mount Tabor. Most go to a 4-year university, a 4-year college, a 2-year college that could be like a community college, a trade school that could be a specific track for if you want to do a certain program or trade that you want to pursue after high school. The military, there's another great options that students choose, or they can just start working their career. Jumping right into the workforce right after high school is an option too, or something that is uniquely designed to you that speaks to you and that you have interest in, that doesn't follow these tracks. So as you can see, the options are unlimited, and you guys definitely want to have some thought process on where do you see yourself moving in the future. So this slide is primarily going to pertain to students that are looking to enter a 4-year or possibly a 2-year institution after completing graduation at Mount Tabor High School. This is going to help you decide where to apply. It's very important to come up with a list of colleges that are both idealistic and realistic, when thinking about which college to apply to after you graduate from high school. That can be challenging. We understand that. So we've created a list here, of a list of things, 6 things that students should look at when applying and looking at schools. So the first one is going to be, do you have a major? What is your career goal, and what do you want to study in college? The second one should be your GPA and test scores. Is it comparative for competitive for admissions? That's definitely something you want to look into. If your grades do not meet the requirements for the schools that you're looking at, you might want to look at other options, just so you won't waste your time and money applying to different universities or, certain colleges. Visit colleges. You definitely want to visit colleges and talk with the people at these institutions. You want to visit the admissions office. Many schools, due to COVID-19, right now we have virtual tours. And if you see on number 3 where it says here, you can click that link and it'll take you to a website to help you with, doing some virtual tours. Um, Another good site is the Carolina Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Office. That will be number 4. You click that link. It's another good way you can check out their schedule, and it'll give you an example of virtual exploration of different college campuses. So that's a good one to check out. Number 5, research scholarship and financial aid possibilities. That is a strong one. Certain institutions offer certain scholarships and different opportunities. So cost is going to be something that you're also going to want to look at when checking out different colleges. Certain institutions may, help you with funding, help you with tuition. And if you're looking at going that route, that might can help weed some of your decisions down and help you choose the best one. And lastly, number 6, considering alternate ways to meet your end goal. So, if you want to still get a 4-year degree, you want to end up with your bachelor's, but you want to cut down some of the costs, attending a community college is another way that you can go. You can complete your 2 years at a community college, and then you can transfer into a 4-year university. This is also going to come in handy for students who didn't do so well in high school and their GPA is a little low. It's very common that people start off at a community college and do their transfer program. You do 2 years at your community college and then you transfer over to a 4-year university. That also give you some time to work on your GPA and get it where you want, and also give you some time to reflect and see where you want to go and if you still need more time to develop. And it also saves you money by starting 2 years at a community college. Your tuition will be cheaper, so it'll save you money in the long run. Okay, so I know you guys are probably wondering, where can I find information? I'm interested in going to college, but where can I find information about my college? Look no further. We have that information for you right here. So if you look on this page, you see 3 long rectangles, and I'm going to kind of touch over that information listed. So if you're looking to go into college or university, the first place and a good place to start is the college website. You want to go directly to the source. You go to the college website and they'll tell you everything you need to know about what's needed for the application, what's needed for enrollment, what's expected of you. You'll find a lot of the information to your questions on the website. Another good website that is pretty helpful for most students is Big Future by the College Board. Big Future is another great website. It's a search tool to look up specific schools, or you can put in search information such as their major, the location, or the size, and etc. So it's a lot of information that you can find on Big Future. That's another great website. And lastly, but not least, the College Foundation of North Carolina, also known as CFNC. CFNC is a one-stop shop for everything for North Carolina and career-related information. CFNC is a great website, a great tool that students use to also gain additional college information as far as college and universities.
We want all of our seniors and our senior families to be aware of the resources of the community college system in North Carolina. The community college system is extensive. There is a community college in every county or in every community with access to education at a local level. The community colleges offer the beginning of earning a bachelor's degree. Community colleges offer many opportunities in career areas that lead toward associate's degrees. Community colleges offer certificates and diplomas in programs that lead to employment. The community college also, for high school students, provides the opportunity that we call the Career and College Promise. So dual enrollment opportunities for high school students are available at our local community colleges. Some of our students are taking advantage of that opportunity right now. Some of you might want to think about that as a part of your opportunity in the second semester of your senior year. And if you do, you want to discuss that with your high school counselor. So whether you're thinking that your college opportunity should begin at a very local level at perhaps the lower cost, as community colleges do tend to cost less than attending a university or a residential campus. Whether you're thinking about a transfer program, starting a transfer program to eventually pursue a bachelor's degree or a specific associate degree, it's important that you're aware of the community college opportunities. In our community, Forsyth Tech is the most immediate opportunity, but there are also community colleges in Guilford County, Guilford Technical Community College, and then nearby the College of Davidson and Davie counties also offers community college opportunities. Hopefully throughout the year, we may have some opportunities to visit Forsyth Tech. We've had those opportunities in the past. We will have to see how things go this school year, but if we can help our students with those opportunities, we definitely want to be able to do that. Attending the community college may be necessary for some students also who don't meet currently the criteria to be admitted to the university that they would like to go to. That is another important consideration and something that's also important for you to be discussing with your school counselor as you're making your decisions for the future. We urge you to look at the websites of each of the community colleges and read information about resources, and then also click on the links for applying so that you know the process of applying to the community college. When you click on that process, one of the first things you will find is that you need to complete the RDS, or the Residency Determination Service, which will lead to a residency certification number. So that residency information is very important for every student applying to the community college. That also is something that may be important for you to be talking with your high school counselor about as you're working through that process. That is step number one as you apply to the community college. Then the second step is to complete the application, and you will complete that completely. And you will follow all directions that the community college gives you then about your pathway toward enrollment at the community college. We also think it's very important that you then follow through and complete the FAFSA. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the program, but completing the free application for federal student aid will be important. One other item in our community, about a year ago, our city, along with Forsyth Tech, created what is called the Hope and Opportunity Scholarship that has created resources for students in our community, in many cases, to be able to attend Forsyth Tech without incurring any additional costs. So the local community colleges are very important resources as you are considering your opportunities for the future.
So on this slide, we're going to talk about important admissions factors. Important admissions factors are what four-year universities and colleges and institutions, how they decide who attends their university. So if you look on this page, there's a long list of items that they look at when deciding if they're going to let you be a student at their university or their institution. Transcript. So if they're looking at your transcript, they're going to look at your GPA, your class rank. They're going to look at your rigor, and that's going to be what courses you took, whether it was standard, honors, or AP. And they're also going to look at mid-year grades. They're going to look at what you did, halfway through the year. So, it's always, these are things that they look at when deciding whether you're going to be able to, apply, if they're going to accept you or not. Test scores, they're going to look at your SAT scores and your ACT scores. This year, because of COVID-19, many universities and colleges are going to waive or make it optional this year, because it's hard to kind of test because of the COVID situation. So it's really best for students to, just stay up to date regarding their institution, wherever they want to apply, stay up to date on their policies, and just stay in tune to see is that a requirement or not. That definitely the institution will let you know if it's a requirement. Essays. Most universities make you do a student essay, a personal essay, kind of explaining why you want to attend the university, what's your plans, what's your goals, and why do you think you're a good candidate, a good fit for their university or their institution. Recommendations. Recommendations are also huge. They always ask for you to have a certain amount of recommendation. That could vary each school, each institution. But when doing recommendations, you also want to make sure that you're gonna, ask someone to give you a recommendation. You're gonna make sure that it's someone that knows you well and someone that is gonna give you a positive recommendation. So, take your time when thinking about who you want to ask to be a recommendation for you. Also going to look at activities. So they're going to look at your school activities, community activities, and sports recruitments. So it's very institutions and colleges like students to be well-rounded. They want students to have good grades, but they also want students that have a lot of extracurricular activities. So this could be sports, this could be band, this could be dance, different clubs. If you've been helping in the community doing um, community work or community service, any kind of volunteer work, all these things are going to be good for you to list and talk about on your resume or in your um, it's good to bring up, and let the new institution know that you're well-rounded and that you're that great. You're not just focused on academics, but you also, a well-rounded student and able to, have extracurricular activity. So they're also going to look at your discipline. They're going to look at if you were in ISS, OSS, and if you followed the honor code. These are things that they're going to look for. And some institutions may require you to have an interview. Certain institutions they might not um, require you to have an SAT or SAT or ACT, but they might ask you to engage in an interview and they want to find out um, who you are as a person. They want to be more personable with you. They want to see are you the right candidate for their school? Do you meet the criteria? Do you fit the criteria? So, it's very important that you do your research um, before applying to these institutions to find out and make sure you understand exactly what they're looking for and what they're asking for. That will definitely heighten your chances of attending that institution or college. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the SAT and the ACT. As I previously stated on the previous slide, many schools, North Carolina schools, are not requiring students to take the SAT and the ACT this year. So please stay in communication and stay abreast, checking the admissions information on the website to your specific school that you're looking at applying. Some schools are making it optional as well. So that's important. So it's very important, like I said, to just make sure that you're following, keeping up to date on the website and just staying in communication with your institution. So making sure that you prepare for these tests is very important. If you prepare well the first time, chances are you won't have to take it again a second time or a third time. So Khan Academy Online is a great resource for the SAT. And there are also other local tutoring options that may be available as well. So stay in communication with your school counselor um, to help find local testing tutoring options. Fee waivers, they are available for these tests as well. So you can go through those to get those from your school counselor to waive your fees. And lastly, if you feel like you might qualify for accommodations for the SAT and the ACT, it's very important to communicate that with your school counselor. Um, Students may need read alouds or extended time or certain testing environments. Um, and it's important that you communicate that to your school counselor so your school counselor can advocate on your behalf and make sure that you have the best situation and environment so you to do your best on these tests. So as far as the SAT, there is a reading section and a math section. The writing section is optional, and you're going to get a score range from 400 to 1600. And as far as the ACT, there's a reading, a English, a math, and a science section. And again, the writing section is optional. It's optional, and the scoring range on that is from 1 to 36.
At this point in the presentation, you've already heard us mention a few times about making sure you're picking colleges that are idealistic and realistic. You want to make sure that you're competitive for the schools that you're applying to. This also falls into place when we're talking about, are schools a dream or a reach school? Are they middle of the road, or are they a safety school? We're primarily looking at test scores and GPA averages when we're talking about those. So right here, what we've done is we've listed the public universities in North Carolina, a chart of their general SAT reading, SAT math, and ACT composite scores for you to look at. There's a detailed list of all North Carolina four-year universities on our website, along with other information that I would suggest you look into when you're deciding on colleges. Another important thing to realize for this school year is that the North Carolina public school system for four-year colleges has said that tests are going to be optional. Now, they have stated that if you feel like your test scores reflect your ability, that they would like you to submit them. But it is ultimately up to you, and if you do not submit your test scores, it will not be held against you. Now, at this point, if you have already submitted test scores via College Board or ACT to a school, when you apply to that school, there is supposed to be a choice on the application where you can select that you would not like test scores to be used. If you do that, then colleges will disregard your test scores in the admissions process. And if you have questions about a specific school with that, we would suggest you contact their admissions office directly so that way they can make a note on your application file. On this slide, we're talking about three of the key ways that college admissions committees are determining who they're going to grant admission to this year, especially since many schools are testing optional. First, there's the transcripts, and that shows colleges the rigor of the courses that you've been taking and the grades you've received, along with the rank you have within the school. Now, we strongly suggest that you send these electronically. Now, if you are applying on Common App or Coalition, you will naturally be prompted to add your school counselor's information and email address, and then we will receive a link to be able to upload your transcript directly to that site and to the colleges. If you're applying to a school in North Carolina, you could also use CFNC. Now, if you apply to a school on CFNC, you will be asked if you would like to submit a transcript on CFNC, which you can naturally do. It will automatically send it to the college, and you'll be able to look back to see when the college downloaded it. In addition, another perk of CFNC is that even if you don't apply to a school on CFNC in North Carolina, you can have a transcript submitted. So if you're applying to a school in North Carolina directly to their website and they need a transcript, we would suggest that you go onto your CFNC account and go to their transcript tool, and you can submit a transcript directly to the school from the site. Some colleges will use SendEDU. You will not see this as commonly, so don't worry if this does not seem familiar to you. But if you are on a college's website and you're applying and they are requesting a transcript via SendEDU, you'll just submit your counselor's information, their name and their email address, and we'll receive an email to be able to upload the transcript that way. Now, if there is no way to send a transcript electronically to a college and you need to have one mailed, we do have a process for that. We've created a Google Sheet, which is linked to here in this presentation, and it's also available on our school website that you can fill out, and that will go directly to Ms. Robinson, who will prepare your transcript and mail it out within 10 school or business days. After 10 business days, if you'd like to contact Ms. Robinson, you can, and she can tell you the date it was sent out if a college says that they haven't received it. You should be aware that the first two of these are free, but after that, they are $2 per transcript for us to mail them. If you need a transcript for a scholarship, though, That is free. You'll just need to contact Ms. Robinson directly here in our counseling office. Mid-year transcripts we will submit for free. We just have to be notified of them if they are something to be mailed. And final transcripts we will mail for free also. You'll get more information later on this school year as we get closer to graduation, where you'll inform us of where you're going to go to college, and that is when that's how we'll know where to send those final transcripts for you. So in addition to colleges looking at the rigor of your courses, they're also looking at the recommendation letters they receive to learn about how you are as a student in classes and around the school community. Most colleges do want to have at least one core teacher from 11th or 12th grade year submit a recommendation letter. So please be thinking about what teachers you've connected with last year and this year that you can ask for that recommendation letter. Also, a secondary teacher who could be very good might be someone you've had multiple times. It might be someone that you had as a teacher once, but they were also a club or a sport coach, advisor that you can go to and maybe knows you a little bit more personally about your goals and your ambitions and have seen you grow throughout high school. You want to make sure that you give at least 2 weeks notice to anyone that you're asking for a recommendation letter, but also realize that many teachers and advisors you go to for this are probably being asked by multiple people. So you want to plan ahead. You want to give those recommenders a copy of your senior profile and activities resume. We have that linked here. It is also available on our school counseling website for you. And you want to make sure that you submit that to everyone who's doing a recommendation and your school counselor. It's super important that you give one to us as well, because most colleges do want us to write a recommendation letter, and many scholarships want us to have a recommendation letter as well. So you want to make sure that your school counselor has your most up-to-date senior profile and activities resume always throughout the year. Now, your essays are an additional way for colleges to really get to know you and your character and hear your voice. We spent a lot of time giving information about writing good essays in the spring when we did our presentation, but I will just add the key thing here is to be yourself. The college and scholarship committees, this is their chance to hear your voice, to hear what's important to you, and to kind of get an idea of your life, your goals, and your dreams. Now, we have been informed by colleges that an additional short discussion topic has been added to many applications, especially on Common App, that asks for how COVID has impacted your life. So please take that opportunity to talk about how COVID maybe has impacted you. It could be an opportunity that if you decided to take a PC-19 on a grade, that you talk about why you did that, or maybe in electing not to submit test scores, or anything personally, how it has impacted your family, your academics, or any part of your life. They really are just trying to see how your life has been impacted over the past year and how they need to take that into consideration when viewing your transcripts, any test scores, if they do see those, recommendations, or essays.
Hey seniors, Mr. McBride here. This slide has to do with the military, obviously being one of the options you can pursue after high school. There's a lot of benefits to joining the military, as far as helping pay for college, giving you a stipend, giving you some career goals, things like that. Obviously, if you're interested in joining the military, whether it's Air Force, Marines, Army, National Guard, whatever it might be, make sure that you reach out to either your counselor and we can put you in contact with a recruiter, or if you're able to reach out to the recruiter on your own, you can do that as well. The ASVAB is one of the tests that they require you to take in order to get placed for a job in the military. So we do offer that during college application week, which we'll go over in a couple slides, but just want to make sure that you are aware of that. And if you have any questions, just reach out to us, counselors, and we can hopefully help you out. On this slide, you'll see information about the military academies. If you'd like to be considered for a military academy, you'll need an endorsement from a congressman or congresswoman or senator. So in order to do that, make sure you click on the links above, and that way you can figure out what information is needed to do that. Obviously, there are some deadlines, the earliest being October 15th. So make sure that you reach out to them if that is something that you are interested in. How to apply to college. So most college applications now are solely completed online. There's a lot of different platforms you can use, such as Common App, Coalition, Common Black College Application, College Foundation of North Carolina, or CFNC, or simply going to the college or university's website. Make sure that you do your research, figure out which way schools prefer that their applications come in. That way that you can set up a timeline to know when the deadlines are, know when you need to send that application in by, as well as what all is required for that application. We've put links to each of these websites on the PowerPoint, so make sure you click on those if you need to check those out. CFNC, or College Foundation of North Carolina, does have a college application week. Again, we're going to go over that in a couple slides, but there's usually a fee attached, but during college application week, they do waive that fee, so more information to come. As I mentioned in the previous slide, you'll have application deadlines that you need to be mindful of. There's different types of application deadlines, as you can see to the right. There's regular decision, rolling, early action, and early decision. Regular decision means you submit your application by a specific date, and hopefully you'll receive a decision also on a specific date. Rolling simply means that you can submit an application at any point in time, and they will respond within an amount of time set by the college. It tends to be probably about 2 to 3 weeks, could be more depending on the time of year. Early action is that you apply to an early deadline set by a college and receive an admissions decision at an earlier date than the regular response date. If you'd like to be considered for this, most large scholarships at colleges do require that you apply for early action by that deadline. Now, early decision, this is the binding decision. So if you accept or decide to apply for an early decision deadline, you agree then to withdraw regular admissions applications from other colleges. Now, some schools will have 2 early decision deadlines, usually sometime in October, November, and then sometime in January. This is essentially an agreement that is signed by the student, parent, and the counselor. So through Common App, they make sure to send that. And it is a binding decision. So if you decide that you're going to apply that way and the school accepts you, you do, or you are required to then attend that school. So obviously it is a significant decision. So if you decide to think that that might be an option for you, make sure you reach out to your counselor so we can talk through that a little further. College application week, October 19th through the 23rd. So in years past, we've been able to host events in the media center, having students come in, fill out the application, apply for their RDS, things like that. Obviously this year will be a little bit different, but during this time, most North Carolina colleges will waive their application fee. Application fees can range anywhere from $30 to $100 depending on the school. So the fact that a lot of schools will waive those fees is great. If you're thinking you're apply to a community college, know that they are always free, so you don't have to, or you should never apply for them and have to pay a fee. And then, like I said, in the years past, we've done on-site admissions also where schools have come in and actually accepted students on the spot with test scores, GPA, transcript, that kind of stuff. However, this will be a different year, and more information is going to be coming out about that and how that'll look for us amidst the COVID situation. So what you can do to be prepared for this is make sure that you know your CFNC username and password. And if you don't, you might need to try and recover that or simply create a new account because you're going to need that for the residency determination service. So this is a big thing you have to do if you're applying for in-state tuition for North Carolina schools. And if you do create a new account, make sure that you use an email that is not your school email because the school email runs out after you graduate. So essentially, we want to make sure we have an email that you can use year to year. And again, we'll actually go over the ASVAB during this as well. Usually we host that on that Friday, but like I said, more information will be coming out about that. RDS, or Residency Determination Service. This is a mandatory thing that you have to complete if you would like to be eligible for in-state tuition for schools in North Carolina. It is required that you have your CFNC username and password. And again, like I said on the last slide, if you have not logged into CFNC or you're not sure what that might be, you need to either try to recover it or just simply create a new account and make sure that you add Mount Tabor as your high school. This is something you'll have to complete with a parent or legal guardian because there is some information that they have or they're only privy to that you need. So make sure that you set aside 15-20 minutes to sit down with them to complete this. And again, this is for applications for North Carolina schools 2 or 4 year. Doesn't really matter if it's public private or, like I said, community college, they'll ask for your RCN number. And so you want to make sure you do this prior to completing your applications. And you can find that out by going to that website, ncresidency.cfnc.org. NC Tuition Promise. This is another great opportunity if you are thinking about applying to Elizabeth City State, UNC Pembroke, or Western Carolina. You can actually attend these schools for a very reduced price per semester. The tuition is only about $500. It does come with some other costs, but regardless, that is a huge reduction in cost for tuition than what most schools can offer. So this is a great opportunity to see if you want to explore these opportunities at this school. Again, that's a promise for 4 years. So all 4 years you'll have a tuition that will be $500 a semester. So this is a great opportunity. I encourage all students to check that out. There's a lot of great programs at each one of those schools that may fit you.
So far in our program, we've talked to you about gathering information and making decisions about where you will apply, what you will do after high school. Now we want to link the financial aid process to the decisions that you are making for your future. Financial aid is critically important because almost everything that you will choose to do related to a college, a university, trade school, any kind of experience like that will incur costs. Financial aid, scholarships, all of it goes hand in hand because everything related to financial aid and scholarships is about paying for the experiences and gaining your education. Financial aid can be considered need-based or merit-based. Everyone would like to earn a scholarship. Scholarships are based on merit or something that you're good at. Your academic record, your athletic potential, or your athletic performance that you've demonstrated, your artistic capabilities, anything that is something that you have accomplished or you can demonstrate your accomplishment. Need-based financial aid is based on family income. Again, both go hand in hand and are very, very important for high school seniors to understand and to follow through the process of applying. Considering colleges and universities, you will need to pay for tuition. If you choose to be a residential student, you will pay for room and board or meals. You will also pay for books, supplies, and other resources that are important to your education, other living expenses, and perhaps other travel expenses. Colleges and universities build all of that into their total cost. We think it's important that you comprehend and understand the cost of college at the same time that you are coming up with your decisions about where you will apply to college. We don't think that you have to base those decisions as you consider applying entirely on what the cost of a college or university will be, but you have to be aware of that, and through the process, you will come to understand what seems to be more affordable for you. Again, one of those reasons why it's good for families to consider a broad spectrum of possibilities as you are considering colleges and universities. For North Carolinians, public universities in North Carolina will be less expensive than most private institutions or less expensive than universities out of state. But again, it's important to consider private universities or out-of-state universities if there are reasons why those institutions are important and might meet your goals. The community college will always be less expensive and be a more local opportunity for students to attend. Trade schools, like a cosmetology school or an auto mechanic school, those kinds of schools also incur expenses, and so therefore understanding and following through a financial aid process is very important. Almost every college or university has some kind of merit scholarship program. Make sure that you are looking at the financial aid information scholarship information section of every institution's website. Look for the opportunities, look for the deadlines to apply, and look for the ways that you do follow through and apply. Many institutions follow their admissions application to determine their scholarship recipients. Some institutions have a separate application that you will need to complete. We're also going to talk about the free application for federal student aid, which is something that we think every family should consider completing as you are applying to college and considering financial aid opportunities. On this slide, we want to point out to students and parents sources of scholarship information. It's very important to know that scholarships generally don't come someone's way without a lot of hard work, a lot of investigation, and a lot of follow through. So the first thing we want to point out about scholarship information is the Mount Tabor Scholarship Update. We try really hard to put together information about scholarship programs that we know about, that are local to our state, our community, and some national programs. The Scholarship Update is a wonderful source that will guide our seniors to apply for many scholarship opportunities, but we also want to point out that it's not an all-inclusive resource for all scholarship opportunities, but it is a really good opportunity for students to see and understand what they can apply for and to follow through. The scholarship update will be published every 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be made available on our website at the Student Services section of the Mount Tabor website. It will also be emailed to seniors, it will be emailed to parents, and it continuously is updated throughout the school year. So as a new update comes out, any scholarship or opportunities that have previous deadlines that occur earlier in the school year will come off the update. New scholarships that have upcoming deadlines and processes will be added to the scholarship update. Anything and everything that I come in contact with that can be helpful to you will be added to that update. So please make use of that resource. College websites are probably one of the most important places for high school seniors and parents to research scholarship opportunities. The bigger amounts of scholarships will come from colleges and universities. There are particular criteria that students might need to meet in order to apply for a scholarship. There might be particular career criteria that high school seniors have already met that will lead to particular scholarship opportunities at colleges and universities. Look at the website, look at the financial aid scholarship section of the website. Make sure you know what those institutions make available. Make sure you know what their processes are in terms of applying. In many cases, the process will simply be to complete the admissions application and include everything that is asked for in that application. In other cases, some colleges and universities will require a separate application process for all of their merit scholarship awards, or they may have a separate process for an individual merit scholarship program. But it's important as you are considering colleges and universities and as you are applying that you are aware and know the processes of applying for scholarship opportunities also. Families may be a part of an organization, or there may be organizations in your community. There are service organizations, there are church affiliated organizations. Any way that we are affiliated with anything in our society may have a scholarship program. So it's important that students and families are working together to consider those opportunities, following through and applying for those opportunities for merit scholarships. There are scholarship search tools that are available. We mentioned some of those on the scholarship update. Those are processes by which a student can fill in information about themselves, and it can lead to a listing of scholarships. That's probably also a good place for me to say, we don't believe it's ever a good idea to spend money on a scholarship search process because we believe those scholarship search processes are available to all students and families. It does take more work to work on those and find the scholarship opportunities, but we believe that information is readily available through that work that you will do. We mentioned also that one form of merit scholarship is the athletic scholarship process. We do want to make sure, again, that we mention that students who are pursuing athletics in college would complete the clearinghouse information at the NCAA website and make sure that you are holding your conversations with the athletic departments and coaches at colleges and universities if you are pursuing athletic opportunities in college and hoping that some merit scholarship opportunities come with that. Most college athletes do not receive full athletic scholarships. They tend to receive partial scholarships, and they may receive partial scholarships for their academic potential also. So again, do your research on the combination of athletic and academic opportunities. This slide also mentions senior profile and activities resume. We've talked about that earlier. We'd like to make sure that students complete that by the 25th of September. In some cases, if you are seeking a nomination for a competitive scholarship program, we want you to turn that in earlier. But the senior profile will be used, the senior profile and the resume will be used by our scholarship committee at Mount Tabor to determine who may be nominated for particular scholarships throughout the school year. And in some cases, as we get toward the end of the school year, there are some opportunities where the scholarship committee at Mount Tabor will decide Mount Tabor seniors who receive particular scholarships. So your senior profile and your resume, those are very important documents. They also give you a wonderful opportunity to write about yourself, demonstrate your accomplishments, your qualities, what sets you apart and makes you somewhat different from other individuals. So there are many sources of scholarship opportunities, and each individual must find those scholarship opportunities by asking a lot of questions, doing research, and you have to follow through in order to eventually receive those scholarships. Applying for need-based financial aid sometimes goes hand in hand with the scholarship application process. Often it's a separate process where scholarships are mostly based on a student's merit or accomplishments. Need-based financial aid is generally based on a student's family income, household income in the family. The most important document for families to consider completion is the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA will be the source of determination for almost all federal student aid, state-based aid, and also institutional aid. Each of those entities is determining eligibility based on the household income where a student comes from. So the FAFSA is very, very important. October 1st is the earliest date that families can complete the FAFSA. And we do encourage that families go ahead and complete the financial aid document so that that information is reported to colleges and universities where students are applying. So October 1st, very important date. Every college and university has what may be called a priority deadline for applying. Those priority deadlines will come later in the year, more like the spring. But it's important that senior families begin to research, understand what you'll need to do with the FAFSA, and get ready to begin that process as early as the 1st of October. Financial aid for some colleges and universities can be determined by the completion of the CSS profile. That document can be found at the College Board website. You can go to cssprofile.collegeboard.org. Students and families will only complete the CSS profile If you are applying to one of the colleges and universities that use that to determine financial aid, on this slide you can see some of the schools in North Carolina that look at another layer of family income and family assets to determine financial aid. Although the CSS profile will dig deeper into family assets, it may lead to some of these colleges and universities having their own institutional resources that they will grant to families and make colleges and universities more affordable. For example, some of the private colleges and universities that are much more expensive will expect the profile to be completed, but that might end up leading to a larger amount of grant money that is offered to a student. So when we think about financial aid beyond the scholarships, we think about outright grant programs. Those are programs, grants is money that is given to students to attend college, and it does not need to be paid back. Colleges and universities also offer work-study programs through the FAFSA process. Work-study programs allow students to have jobs while they are attending college and make money that is spending money or money that they save for their tuition, however they choose to use that. The completion of the FAFSA can also lead to better loan programs. So everything about the FAFSA or the CSS profile is important to help determine the overall cost of attending college and the overall affordability. The completion of the FAFSA will lead to the expected family contribution. Here's a basic example. If a college or university costs $25,000 completely, tuition, room and board, books, supplies, living expenses, travel expenses, if that was the total that that university indicated is the cost of attendance for 1 year, and a student's expected family contribution based on the FAFSA was $5,000. So let's say $25,000 is the total cost, expected family contribution is $5,000. That student would have $20,000 in financial need, and the college or university would work through a process of attempting to meet that need. There are colleges and universities that will meet the entire need that a student demonstrates. There are many colleges and universities that don't have the resources to meet that entire need. But again, that's part of why it is very important that you're considering various opportunities as you're working through the college application and the financial aid process. One last item to mention on this slide. On the 29th of September, we will hold a live virtual Zoom meeting with Mr. David Gelinas, who has just recently retired as the financial aid director from Davidson College. Mr. Gelinas has helped us for the past 10 years do a financial aid program for our parents at Mount Tabor. He is very well qualified. He has been a financial aid administrator for many years. As I said, just recently retired. Lots of very, very helpful information. We always like to say also that financial aid may not be that glamorous. Mr. Gelinas is able to make it somewhat entertaining. So we would like you to consider tuning in for that program, and we'll share more information in the coming weeks about the financial aid event that we will hold on the 29th of September at 6:30. I mentioned the importance of consulting the college and university websites about all their scholarship programs. So in this slide, we highlight some of the local scholarship programs for which students need to be nominated or have the opportunity to self-nominate. So those processes come up very early in the school year. So we are collecting information currently, and our scholarship committee will make decisions very soon about some of these scholarship programs. Some require nominations from the high school, some are self-nominations. So again, it's important to read details about each of them. But I would like to mention the Moorhead Kane Scholarship Program at UNC Chapel Hill, the Park Scholarship at NC State, the Jefferson Scholarship at the University of Virginia, the Levine Scholarship Program at UNC Charlotte, the Bryan Scholarship and the Belk Scholarship at Davidson College, and the Cheatham White Scholarship Program at North Carolina Central University and North Carolina A&T State University. There is information in the most recently published scholarship update asking for students to complete their senior profiles, their resumes, and write a short personal statement about how they demonstrate the criteria for which the scholarship programs are based on. These scholarship programs in some cases allow us to nominate 1, 2, 3 students. And beyond that, in some cases, students who are not nominated by their high school can go on and nominate themselves for these scholarship programs. Some of the programs do, or programs like this do allow any number of students to nominate or become nominated by their high school counselor. So each is a little bit different. So make sure that you read carefully information at the school's website about the program and look at the information on the scholarship update. The profile, resume, and personal statements for most of these nomination processes are due on September the 11th, and then the scholarship committee will make decisions. These scholarships are also examples of scholarship programs. So again, this isn't comprehensive of all scholarship programs. So make sure that you are consulting again those websites and considering how to follow through about scholarship opportunities. Another program that I would like to mention is the Golden Door Scholarship Program. The Golden Door was created a few years ago, and it supports programs for DACA students, those students who may be undocumented, but they are searching for programs to help pay for the costs in college. Any and all of these programs, talk to your high school counselor, and you are welcome to ask any questions of me as we help you figure out scholarship programs that you want to apply for and what the processes are.
So next, I wanted to talk to you guys about Crosby Scholars. So I'm sure most of you seniors at Mount Tabor are already familiar with Crosby Scholars, but for those who are new to Mount Tabor, Crosby Scholars is a program that focuses on college access. Um, they help students figure out their path to college, and they help assist in that process. And they typically don't allow seniors to join the program unless you started the program as a freshman or a sophomore. Typically, they only let seniors join if you are new to the district and you want to be a part of Crosby Scholars. If you look at the top of this page, we have listed the Crosby Scholars website, the Instagram, and Twitter. These links are clickable, so you can click to see all the Crosby Scholars update. If you look on the right, don't forget to register through your student portal, and also make sure that your email and contact info is current. That's very important because they're going to be reaching out to you guys as far as information. Um, so as you see on the first two bubbles in front of us right here, you look, there's check marks because most of you have probably already attended your Think Like a Senior session, which is typically done at the end of your junior year, and schedule and attend your senior college planning meeting this summer. That was done this summer. So it's very important for seniors that are Cosby Scholars to attend to Senior Academy soon, complete your volunteer hours, and stay up to date with scholarship and financial aid information. You can do that at Smart Money Moves. So just make sure that you guys stay in communication and up to date regarding Crosby Scholars using the links above.
Every year, we meet one-on-one with our seniors to talk about your graduation plan, as well as your goals for after high school. Now, while we can't do this in person this year, we have set up a process so we can have Zoom meetings with our seniors to still have that senior meeting and talk about your goals and how we can help you reach them. Here on this slide, you're going to see each school counselor listed along with the part of the alphabet that they are in charge of. Underneath that, you have our email addresses and a link to a Calendly page. This link allows you to go to your counselor's page and sign up for a one-on-one meeting time with them. So please go with the counselor that you are assigned by last name, follow that link and sign up for a time. It's going to be super important that you put this on your calendars and you remember about this because we do have limited time before that first round of application deadlines that start usually mid-October to beginning of November. We want to make sure to speak with every single senior of ours. So when you go to that page, it is going to open up a calendar for you with times available throughout the day. You're going to need to sign up for one of those times. It's going to prompt you with a couple of questions to answer. And when you submit, you should get an email with a Zoom invite to a one-on-one session with your counselor for that day. We do ask that you come to that meeting prepared with questions and ideas about your plans for after high school so that we can help you reach those goals. We're also going to talk about your graduation requirements during that meeting and any additional things that come up with classes or ideas with financial aid or residency determination at that time. But it really is your chance for that one-on-one conversation with your counselor to talk about your goals. And we can't wait to see you, even if it is via Zoom meeting. So we've covered a lot in this presentation, and hopefully with it being a presentation on our website, you can go back and re-watch certain slides or the whole thing to try to help you with any questions you might have. And then also ultimately when we have that senior meeting one-on-one, we can answer any additional questions that have come up. So in planning ahead, you want to think about a couple of key things right now. You want to go ahead and sign up for that senior meeting with your counselor. And you want to be prepared for that meeting with ideas about what your future holds and what goals you want to achieve in the next couple of years. You want to go ahead and complete your senior profile and activities resume. And you want to email it to your school counselor by September 25th, but you also want to have it prepared for anyone that you ask for a recommendation letter from or any scholarship you're applying for. You want to make sure that you are doing work to the highest ability possible in your classes. You want to be pushing yourselves. You want to be taking courses that show the rigor that you are capable of achieving and working with teachers to be prepared for the rest of this year and for college and career planning that comes next. And you also want to plan ahead on some other things. You don't want to leave classwork to the last minute or college applications to the last minute or recommendation letters, any of those things. You definitely want to plan ahead with those things. You want to do research on colleges and you want to stay in touch with your counselor about what those plans are. On this page, we've listed many of the resources that we've talked about here during this presentation, just to make it as an easy list for you to access and follow to their pages. We hope this presentation has brought a lot of information to you. Some you've heard before from us in presentations, some might be new, but now with it being your senior year, it becomes very relevant for the next step for after high school. And we look forward to seeing you and talking with you during your senior one-on-one meeting. So please look over this presentation. Come prepared to that meeting with questions for us so that we can have an engaged conversation together and know that we are here. Your Mount Tabor counselors are here to support you throughout this year of yours and to prepare for what comes next after you leave us and walk across that stage. We hope you are doing well and we miss seeing you.